Greetings and welcome everyone. My name is Imhotep Shaka and welcome to the 2017 Black Sustainability Summit. Powerful. Give thanks, absolutely. And I am the founder of the Healing. This is a sovereign space. This is a space in which has been gifted, you know, through the ancestors, through inspiration from the ancestors. That could be utilized for our people and for the benefits of healing and recuperation. Yeah. So this came about over 9 years, about 9 years ago now, when basically we had a store in the community, my family. We had a store in the community for many years, a cultural store, bookstore, store of information, a gift store, a multi-purpose store, like a little community store. And basically, at that time, it was necessary for us to move on. The Healing, Thehealin, is an ongoing. It's an extension of that. You know, it's a place of empowerment. It's a place of healing, and it's a place of exchange and cross-pollination for our people. Cross-pollination. As it relates to empowering the most basic person that says, let's say, don't know, is not yet rediscovered or remembered who they are, what they're about, and what their purpose is. Part of what we encourage here at the Healing, Thehealin, is to do just that. It's a space to allow people just to be themselves, and so they can reconfigure and really rediscover themselves, even if it's just for a couple of days. And our motto here is very easy. We heal without intrusion. We take this is a process that takes time. Finding yourself and finding out what is for you and how you can best utilize the power that you have does take time. But to know that there is a space out there and spaces like this out there that can do just that is what's important for us here at the Healing. Where it all started is that you know, when we got this space, of course, a lot of work had to be done on it, and it's been a 7-8 year process, and basically what we're looking to do is we want a multifunctional space for our community. This space is for again, for the elderly, for the youth. The elderly need to share their stories. The youth need to listen. And the youth need to share their skills with the elderly. So we've got intergenerational work that's going to take place here. This is a space for artists, yeah, and healers. Now we're going to have our first outdoor art gallery. We don't have too many outdoor art galleries, as far as I know. So this will also be an outdoor art gallery. So it will be a space that artists can use. And again, we've got plenty of artists. We're all artists, but we've got many artists that are out here doing their thing, and we feel strongly that this will be a space that they can use well. So it's a multi-purpose space. It can be utilized in many different ways, and that's the way we're looking to do. That's what we're looking to do specifically. Also over here, as an example, we have swings. We want our couples to connect again. We want them to get into their youthfulness, you know. We ask couples to at least be together for at least a year or two. But specifically a year, but we encourage at least 2 years before you come and stay here overnight. But again, you know, our elderly couples, people that have had children, all the various challenges we go through as African people, sustaining ourselves, sustaining our relationships, you know, it's sustaining our blackness, sustaining our consciousness, sustaining our love, being who we are. This is a place where we can rejuvenate that, and practitioners can be pulled upon when asked for assistance with that, because that's important. Again, it's nothing's pushed down anyone's throats. You're left here just to be, and it's important to have spaces like that where you can just be. But we're here if you need us. Specifically for black and brown people, and also people within Central America, you know, that's important as well, because you know, Mexicans are Africans. You know what I'm saying? When we look at the Philippines, when we look at, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times we see these spaces and we don't recognize that our people are there as well. There are Africans right now in Mexico fighting for their, you know what I mean, for the right just to be where they are. Colombia, same way. No recognition in Colombia. You know what I mean? And it goes on. So we want to recognize that there are people from those, you know, from that part of the world that are very much part of our African family, right? So, you know, the only people that cannot be here and operate here, of course, you know, Europeans. That's it. Yeah. So, so the healing, our philosophy, our ideology, the way we operate is basically, as I said, is empowerment. And that's really important, because empowerment, you can't just have power and you don't sustain that power. You know what I mean? You know, that's just for weak hearts. We're here to sustain that power that's coming from an infinite place, you know, that's been passed down to us continually from our ancestors, through memory, through thought, through action. So the more that our behavior is sustained, the more that we're able to do our work. Yeah. So what we do here is that we recognize that everyone is a healer and everyone is an artist. Everybody. You know what I mean? We're born that way. We're all born creative. You know what I'm saying? The problem with that is that when we're raised, we forget these things. We're not all raised where we are encouraged to do creative things. You know what I mean? Where we're encouraged to heal ourselves. We're given things. We're given certain types of food. I mean, as a youth, I had eczema, I had asthma. It really wasn't my parents' fault. But when they came to the West, in a sense, they'd done the things that the people in the West do, deal with the doctors and forgetting her own medicine. You know what I mean? The things that she used to do and my father used to do. You know, they just literally just dropped it. And this is common, you know? So anyway, the thing is here is that we're here to bring in the practitioners, and we've got a range of practitioners that can come in and share what they have. Not in a way that, as we would describe, dangling the carrot, where you have to go back to them and come back all the time, but in a way where they truly pass on their skills to you, the client, to us, the client. Because I'm here, I'm learning, I'm a client too, you know? And so part of that is to gift back that power to the client, share that information, empower people so they can go away and they don't have to come back time and time again. So that's the idea here, is that it could be African dance, it could be photography, it could be, of course, it could be gardening, it could be, you know, landscaping. The range of professions and skills that we have as African people all can be utilized and all can be offered up to the world community. What it took really was just to listen within, because I had to know where I was going, what I needed to do, what needed to happen. And so interestingly enough, you know, as we touched on earlier on, sustaining our energy, keeping ourselves consistent, you know, after leaving after the store closed, I went, this space here was going into foreclosure, and I had to make a decision what I was going to do. So I had to go into the system, so to speak, and get a job and focus on getting a modification or getting something to save the space. And I done that. Interestingly enough, the challenge there was I was working with the Vampire Diaries. Wow, very interesting. But that in itself made me focus even more. So I was doing security on the Vampire Diaries set, right? So I'd done that for 1.5 years, and you know, through the grace and the power of the ancestors, we got through that and we were able to get the modification. And so the day that I got that okay, I sat down and says, okay, Mama, Baba, what do we do now? And they said, well, you love people, you've got to continue to work with people. So that's what happened. They said, well, look around you. And I looked around me, I says, okay. I says, let's open up a space, a healing space. Let's open up a bed and breakfast. Let's open up a holistic wellness space. And that's really how the thought was birthed, you know what I mean, through inspiration. You know, so As it relates to challenges, is that what you asked? The challenges have been many, but the thing is that the challenges are harder when you don't have a plan. If you don't have no plan and if you're just winging it, then it's challenging because you're going to get drawn all over the place. But because I had a plan and I was told what to do, and I've stuck to it. And it's interesting because when this place was, not looking like nothing like this, I would have friends that come, and I would be all excited, and you know how my energy is. Listen, I got this place. It's amazing, and come, and people would come, and they say, yeah, well, this is your home, right? I say, well, yeah, but look, this is the idea. And they say, okay, yeah, I can. Not everyone has necessarily have the ability to see in the same way. The vision. Not everyone necessarily has that vision. So I just stuck to the vision, and it was very challenging. However, it was important for me to stick to my guns, stay focused, and be creative. I had to be creative. Now, without the support and the encouragement of loved ones, friends and family, this couldn't even, no way could this be where it is today. So I give much thanks for the encouragement and the faith that people had in me with things they couldn't see and I could see. So that's how I was able to really overcome many of the obstacles that I came across. And generally, a lot of those obstacles are financial. So you have to be very creative. So we recycled. So in other words, going into places, Craigslist, different places, eBay, getting recycled material. You know what I'm saying? And again, sticking to what we know we're here to do as it relates to the ideology and the philosophy, because it came to us as time added on, as things started building. More and more things came to us. One shout out to Habasha, because that was the first thing that we really done here, the green makeover, which we won. We were blessed to win that. There was a whole area green makeover, and Habasha, they had this competition, if you will, and we were in it, and that really was inspirational for me, because I was able to continue to move. Every stage I was encouraged to continue to move from there in terms of getting this space to where it is now, and again with the what we needed to do and who we needed to work with. Let's talk about the Braille Garden just briefly. Again, we are in our community, we don't socialize. There's no socializing with our brothers and sisters who are blind, as an example, or brothers and sisters who are challenged with different various handicaps. And this doesn't happen. So, also what came to us is that we need to build a relationship with our community, our black community, our African community that are blind. Okay? Why? Not so we can necessarily help them, but they can help us. Because that's the problem. That's where the challenge is that we need the help. We need to understand that they don't have a problem. They're blind. You know what I mean? A lot of times, as we know, we have sight and we can't see. So the thing is that we're setting up a Braille Garden here. And one of the things we're doing is we're going to be connecting with, or we have connected with, blind people within the community, for them to come, and we're going to be developing a program that basically will allow people to really reflect on really how they've been viewing themselves as it relates to relationships with blind people or not, period. So that's prayerfully going to strengthen our ties and how we see blindness, So having a sensory garden will be part of that, because folks will be blindfolded and they have to really use their senses to know where the lavender is, where's the thyme. You know what I mean? What's this plant? And they really have to utilize their sense of smell and touch. But then also there's a lot of things, of course, that we assume about blind people. And there's going to be that interaction with the practitioners, the blind practitioners, and us as it relates to that. And that will bring out a lot of things as it relates to us having, as happens all the time with discrimination and isms and schisms. You know what I mean? There's things that we assume and we think we know, we don't know. So moving into the space now, and by the way, that's sustainable. That's very important. It's very important that we can have sustainable relationships, because then that's healthy, that's healing, and that's what that's the aim here. Rainwater catchment. Well, that's pretty straightforward. We've got to have our own. To be sustainable, you have to have your own. You've got to have your own water, right? So one of the things that we've done, even with the water in the healing center, in the healing itself, we got our own water system. So it's filtered right from the, right through the whole house. We've got our own water system, and then outside as well, we have our own water system for our plants, and even in an emergency situation, we can rely upon that. So that's been amazing, and that fills up, like, literally, we get a good rain, that fills up in a matter of 30 minutes, an hour, and the whole thing's full. So it's highly encouraged. When you're working on sustainability, get your own water system. Highly recommended. So moving into the space, when we go through the space, we have several rooms. We've got the Nina Simone Sound Therapy Lounge. Sound therapy is very important. Again, we take so much for granted. We're right here right now, we're listening to the birds sing. The people that know of me, I'm running all the time. Boom, 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 working. And sometimes I don't stop and I don't listen to the birds. You know what I mean? I don't get time to hug a tree. That's energy. That's energy. When we just stop for a minute and go off and just say, you know what, let me just give some time to me. Let me connect with the plants. Let me connect with listening to the birds. You know what I'm saying? So the Sound Therapy Lounge involves all those sounds. It involves going right forward to the womb. A lot of the times, it's music that might unblock us. You know what I mean? It might be the drum. We encourage every family. In fact, there's a thing there is a challenge that we're putting into the community very soon on Facebook, and that is that every African household should have a drum. Let's not be embarrassed about the drum. It's not an embarrassment. It's our tool. It's one of our tools of emancipation. You know what I'm saying? Of freeing ourselves. So we have the Nina Simone Sound Therapy Lounge. We have a Jade Room, a room of touch and no touch, where there is massage, there's Reiki, there's a range of modalities in the Jade Room as it relates to massage, Reiki and the likes. Again, also with the Sound Therapy Lounge, with the Nina Simone Sound Therapy Lounge, we have Tibetan bowl healing. We have the drums. We have old school music, and so on and so forth. So then we have a steam room as well. So in that steam room, we've got chromotherapy, aromatherapy. We've got steam. It fits 2 people. It's a beautiful little space. And again, we have our own guest room. Again, a lot of times we want to get away for a weekend, and we might go to a hotel, or we might go into the mountains and hire some place that, again, the energy is not African. You know what I'm saying? And that's important. That's very, very important, because again, you go into, hotels do not prepare rooms in the same way we do. They don't frankincense and myrrh, and they don't use they don't prepare rooms the way we do. You know what I'm saying? So that's important. That's very, very important. So our Kuba room, which is our main guest room, it's right every time for when our guests come. Please take a moment and follow me, and let me show you around. So this is the Nina Simone Sound Therapy Lounge, and as you can tell, as soon as you come in here, the dynamics actually really change. So sound therapy is absolutely crucial, very, very necessary for African people, because we're all about sound. We're all about sound. So you know, whether it be with the vinyl, whether it be with the drums, you know, Tibetan bowl healing, you know, we've got a range of modalities that will take place in here. This is our jade room, and this is the room where, again, the range of modalities from touch and non-touch as well. Okay, so as we say, we heal without intrusion. So we have our own bed. If you choose not to have anyone work on you, or we have the massage tables. And welcome to our steam room. Here at the Heal-In, again, we have chromotherapy, we have aromatherapy, we have steam, we have our own water line, so which is filtered. So we've got the pressure, the pressure that we choose to have, we have here. It fits 2 people. We love it. Greetings and welcome to the Kuba room. And this room is really important to us. The bedroom, the guest room is very, very important to us, because this is, you know, this is where couples stay, you know. And in thinking and meditating on how we really wanted this space, we thought about the people in Mali, you know, that work on the Kuba cloth, and the families working together, the male and female working on the Kuba cloth together, you know. And that's very important, because that's the energy that is necessary when we think of Black sustainability, and keeping the family together and working on the relationships, you know what I'm saying, and doing things together that help us grow. So that's what we felt was necessary in a room like this, in a guest room like this. So we have 2 pieces of Kuba, the headboard, and we have a piece on the ottoman right there is a piece of Kuba cloth. But the work that goes into this is very, very serious, and it is done by the male and female, you know, in many cases. So yes, and also as an example, one of our artists in the community, Marjorie, a wonderful artist, she also done the piece in the Nina Simone piece. And this is a beautiful example of simple art with a beautiful story, you know, where she speaks of, you know, how she felt prior to finding her love. You know, in finding her love, this is the energy and this is the vibration that took place right here, you know. So we felt that we don't have too many pictures here, but the ones that we do have, it's important that they count and they do reflect on the energy that we're about. The great thing about the Heal-In is that we had twins. We had two ideas, sustainable ideas as well, that were important for our community. Because one thing that we need is to eat well, of course. And so we created a beverage line called Tree Water Beverages. And TREEWATER beverages, Tree Water Beverages. And we have some wonderful products with Tree Water Beverages, but the idea was and still is that in Tree Water Beverages becoming successful, which it's growing at a wonderful rate right now, that we could in turn sustain and support the Heal-In idea and continue to get another Heal-In in another space, maybe in another state, and then prayerfully in the Caribbean, and prayerfully also we're talking about Africa, because I've just not too long gotten forward from Senegal, and it's a perfect space to have another healing in somewhere like Senegal, Gambia, West Africa, and so on. So that's really exciting, definitely exciting. So Tree Water Beverages is a products that we specialize in, specifically in sea moss, in ginger, and in aloe. And all those specific plant-based properties are very, very important for our core. This is our second brain, and that's really what our focus is as it relates to Tree Water Beverages, among other drinks, but those are the main areas that we're looking at. The practitioners themselves, the healers out there, will look at themselves and say, I need this. Because healers, we're all healing each other. That's really important. That's part of our black sustainability. That's a part of our ability to heal, is to be honest enough to say, I need help. How often do we pick up the phone and reach out? A lot of times we're afraid. We're afraid that the word might get out. We're afraid to be weak, or feel that we're going through a weak moment. And so we hope that healers, that we draw the right healers. We intend to draw the right healers that have the humility, that are humble enough to recognize what power really is, and that it takes them, they themselves, to utilize this service. Because whatever we do it because we need it for ourselves. Not just because we're teaching, we're also being taught.